Hey, hey, hey! I am Carson from Canada.
And I am Louise from France.
So today we're talking about true love.
Yes.
It's actually interesting because we're both dating someone.
Something?
We're both dating Japanese people. My significant other is Japanese.
Mine is Japanese too.
So today we're going to discuss the ups, downs, lefts, and rights, and let's get to it. So I met the love of my life
Yes.
on the most classic, the busiest of bees,
Okay.
the Bumble dating mobile app.
I've heard that a lot from my friends.
I think it's very popular amongst people here for dating English-speaking Japanese people. I think if you just want to date Japanese-speaking Japanese people, I think pairs
I've heard
is
that.
better. But I don't speak Japanese, so I used Bumble.
I met my partner at an international party.
Ah.
In the flesh.
You don't need dating apps to find true love,
You
kids.
do not.
So I would say, a typical date in Canada for me is pretty classic. Coffee, maybe a beer or a dinner, something like that. Something very wholesome. Nothing too fancy. My first date with my partner here was actually a walk in the park.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Walked along kind of the water, the beach, got a coffee, and just had dinner. At least my dates are pretty normal.
In France, I think a lot of people just go to have coffee or like go to the movies, have dinner after. In my case, like with my partner now, we were friends before we became a couple. So I don't know what is my first date. We went to karaoke together, we would go to cafes. Like, I don't know if that was a first date, but like, that's what we...
I think starting off as friends is the dream. No pressure, right?
Yeah, it's
Less
like
pressure.
you actually already feel comfortable with each other, so it's very nice. I don't know if you know, but in Japan, it's kind of common knowledge that at the third date, you need to either do nothing and you don't date, or you need to do kokuhaku. Have you heard of that?
No, but I think it's more like just a confession period.
That's what it is, yeah.
Yes. I have heard of it.
Okay.
I didn't do that for me, but I think in Canadian, North American dating culture, there's no strict rule like that.
Okay.
It's nothing like that. Like by the third day, we need to have a confirmation. But I think usually, just by coincidence, by the third date, you chotto kind of know the direction. But it's not like a hard, like, okay,
True.
it's the third date. Yes or no?
It's time to, decide.
It's nothing like that.
Friends also, I would say it depends on people, but I think it's more of a like action before words, where like people would hug or like
Hug and kiss first, right?
and
yes.
then you're like, so are we dating right now? And
What
then you
karimashita.
confirm the relationship. It's not really a kokuhaku, you're just like, so what are we?
Naruhodo,
So, yeah.
omoshiroi.
It's a bit different, I would say.
So first, I'd like to say I don't speak for Canada here. I'm just a Chinese person. My parents are Chinese, so in that sense, I'm also Chinese. I would say in general, we don't really show a lot of public display of affection.
Okay.
There's not a lot of hugging or kissing. So like, for example, I think in Luis's culture, kiss on the cheek is like how to greet someone.
Yeah, true.
There's nothing like that in my culture. So even between couples, like we'll hold hands in public.
Yeah.
But there's no hugging or kissing on the train or anything like that.
As a French person, it's quite different because like if you go to France, you're gonna see people kiss everywhere, in the train, in the streets. It's just normal. And for me, when I started dating with my partner, I would kiss him in public and he would be very embarrassed, and I loved it because it was very fun. And I obviously don't do it like everywhere all the time. Like I don't want to be like that person, but I tend to still want to hold hands, maybe hug sometimes, like waiting for the train or something. And for me, it's so natural. But
That's
living
fair.
in Japan, it kind of died down because I don't see anyone else do it, and it's kind of like I'm getting embarrassed.
You definitely don't kiss like on the train, like while waiting for the train. That's not a thing I think you see a lot here.
I think like a common misunderstanding I had I think it's a difference in communication. French people tend to express very straightforwardly what they think, what they feel. And in the case of my partner, he would tend to keep everything to himself and try to deal with it himself because he doesn't want to like make me feel bad by saying something. And it would drive me crazy because I'm like, I can see something is up, like tell me. And like I would fight to make him talk to me. And he adapted because very nice of him, and now he talks to me faster. But I think that was one thing at first where like if something is wrong, I actually would really rather you tell me what's wrong. Even if it's gonna hurt me a little, at least we can talk about it.
I mostly understand what Louise said. I think in Japanese there's a phrase where it's reading the room, reading the atmosphere. That one. I think probably coming from another country/culture, I'm not very good at that, at least reading the Japanese atmosphere, so that's something we can learn. But I completely understand and agree. I'm very direct and I would like to talk about certain things here, but I don't read the room very well, so that's a learning exercise.
Imagine the scene. It was my partner's birthday.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm gonna make a scavenger hunt to make it fun, right? Because I like to make surprises. And I wrote little cards, I put gifts in different areas. He entered and I was hiding right at the last area. And he came straight to me and I was like, did you not read the card? And he was wearing a cap. Very important detail. It's like, why are you wearing a cap? And he was like, the first card said, take a cap. But I wrote cup, not cap. And so he just took a cap and came to me instead of going to the cupboard with cups in it, where the next card would be. And I was like, oh my God. When I met my partner, it was like at the very beginning when I came to Japan, and I didn't speak Japanese, but he was pretty comfortable in English because he has lived abroad. So I didn't have like a very big issue with language. I would say it became more tricky when I started to speak more Japanese, funny enough, because I would speak Japanese and there's nuances I don't understand. And what my partner told me was actually it was easier before, because if I made a mistake, he would know it's a mistake. Now, because I speak quite fluently Japanese, he doesn't know if I actually mean to be mean or if it's a mistake. So sometimes he gets hurt and I'm like, did I say something? And then he explained to me, I'm like, how would I know that? Like it's Japanese, I don't know. But then that creates problems.
I actually share a similar experience where I feel like, when you don't speak the language very well, you don't assume your partner or your friends even have a hidden meaning.
Yeah.
And so I think that has been better for my partner and I. We both speak English only, and it's been great. A note I'd like to make on that is I actually very appreciate, even though language is a barrier, I think it can also transcend some barriers because you're both making an active effort to get to know each other, learn about each other, and love each other.
Like one advice I like to give to people who want to be in those like international relationships is you need to adapt to some extent to the culture of the person you love. However, you should not adapt so much so that you lose yourself. Because I've seen that happen and people are not happy in those relationships. And they're like, yeah, but maybe it's the culture. And I'm like, no, if that's something important to you, keep it. And you need to talk and make that person understand and find compromise. So I think like adapt, try to understand, but don't lose yourself in the relationship.
I completely agree. Obviously we're living in Japan, so we have to adapt to certain customs and cultures here. But at the end of the day, you're two people in your home doing your thing, and there's nothing more important than your own happiness. So as long as there's mutual respect, that should be the core foundational thing that helps you go through learning each other's cultures, language, and fixing all problems in general. Just keep an open mind.
Yes.
It's an adventure.
For me, what I really enjoyed is like when I'm in Japan and I'm dating with a Japanese person, it's actually allowed me to experience so much more of the Japanese culture. But it's like, for example, if I was not dating that person, I would never experience, let's say, the New Year celebration with his family, and I would not know what this specific holiday is about, or like all of those things. It's like you feel closer to the culture.
If I could summarize what Louis said in a different way,
Please.
it's like going to a museum and looking at a piece of art, and I see one thing and my partner sees something completely different, and just exchanging that information, whether it's through a festival in Japan or anything, that experience and that exchange is awesome. It's just so educational, rewarding, and that's what makes people happy, I think.
So that was our experiences with dating a Japanese person, in that case, to be in an international relationship. We would love to know yours, and if you have experienced any challenges, if there's any funny stories, we would love if you share it in the comments. If you enjoy the video, please leave a like, you can subscribe, ring the bell, and we are LanCul Eikaiwa, so if you want to talk about those kind of topics, please feel free to click on the link down below and try to join one of our sessions. And I hope I see you in the next one. Bye! But why are you wearing a cap? And it was like, the first card said, take a cap. But I wrote cup, not cap. And so he just took a cap and came to me instead of going to the cupboard with cups in it, where the next card would be. And I was like,